Hi everyone, I'm here today. I'm just going to do a bit of a different video. Basically, I'm doing a challenge. My children were kind of speaking to me about the albums and junk journals, and they were kind of intrigued as to whether or not you could make anything look vintage. So we kind of raided my stash, and I'm sure, like most fellow crafters, I've got hordes of all sorts of stuff piled high in my cupboards and things. So we went through and we grabbed a few things, and I'm going to do my best to kind of make a really kind of vintagey looking junk journal slash mini album from my stuff here. So I'm going to have to do the video in a couple of different sections. So it's going to test my editing skills to see whether I can actually join the two videos together. But this video here, just going to show you the stuff as it starts. So I've got this red and white spotty fabric. So I'm going to probably try and dye that, coffee dye that. And the same as I've got this bright turquoise lace. So I'm going to probably coffee stain that as well. And the same with all of these fabrics really. So I've got these kind of couple of shades of pink lace, and then I've got this decorative kind of, it's like upholstery trimming. So I'm going to try and kind of dye all of those. So that's where I'll start. I've got some ribbon. I'm going to try and dye some of that. Got some pink ribbon. Got this blue polka dot, and then this kind of florally looking ribbon. Because actually every time that I kind of go shopping, I'm always drawn to the bright, beautiful, vibrant colours. But when I'm actually watching people's videos and things, I'm always actually drawn to the very muted, nice kind of vintagey looking things. So I've got like tons and tons of all this bright coloured stuff, these little flower sequin things. Not sure how I'm going to colour those, but I'm going to give it a try. Maybe my Sharpie markers or something, I'm not sure. So I must try and stop buying such bright coloured things, because obviously if I didn't buy all this bright stuff in the first place, I wouldn't now be having to alter it all. So I've got these flowers. These are kind of plastic, so I'm not sure quite how I'm going to vintage these up, because I'm not sure what it will take, because it's obviously not porous or anything. But I'll give it a try. So I've got those, I've got this jar of flowers, going to try and kind of ink them or do something with them. Got more flowers here, turquoise and pinks. Going to just try and vintage those up. Got a huge jar of buttons. Might use some, might not. We'll see. I've got these foam kind of mirrors. Don't know whether they will be of any use whatsoever. Got all these chipboard things, so I'll see what I can do with those. As you can see, not vintage at all. So we'll see what we can come up with those. And the book itself, I'm going to use this vegetarian cookbook and see what I can kind of do with this to kind of make my scrapbook from. And then obviously I've got like a whole bunch of papers. I've got these gorgeous flowers and things from a Kanban set. I've got all these beautiful frames and shapes and stuff, all kind of just from my cardstock stash. And then I've got just some more papers here, kind of, yeah, all in quite bright, vivid colours at the moment. So we'll see whether I will manage to kind of vintage any of this up. It remains to be seen, but I shall come back and show you the results anyway, no matter how it goes. So we'll see. So I'll best get working. Okay, thanks for watching. Hi everyone, I'm back now with my second part of the challenge, which was to use kind of, my kids had set it for me to use modern things, and their question was, can you make anything look old and vintage? So in the previous clip there was all the materials that I was planning on using. So the basis of my album and my journal was a vegetarian cookbook. So obviously this is the book. So as you can see, painted all the cover, painted it in a kind of ivory colour, and then I've distressed it to make it look quite rustic. I've edged it all in gold, and then stuck on this kind of vintage die cut label, which obviously I left plain so whoever uses the journal can, you know, write something in there. And then I've Mod Podged over the whole lot to make it look kind of more like a leather bound kind of album. And then I just finished it off with a bit of lace and this Tim Holtz metal charm there. Hopefully you can see that, it just says Cherish. So that's just on there. And then if you can remember the materials used, there was the bright pink ribbon. So that's what's kind of used as the tie fastening. It was bright pink. Tried to coffee stain it. It didn't really change colour at all. So in the end what I did was distress inked it with my distress inks. So although it's still quite vibrant, it's much more vintage looking. It's got a kind of tea stained, coffee stained kind of appearance. So that looks quite nice and vintage. Then I used the lace trim, which if you remember was that bright turquoise colour. And weirdly enough, I did that in 2 stages. So the first stage is here, or the first lot is here, and it's this kind of beigey kind of colour. You know, really kind of tones of, yeah, like browny beigey colour. And then weirdly enough, the second lot that I did came out this kind of duck egg blue. Like them both equally actually, and actually quite like the fact that they came out 2 different shades because it makes it look like I've got 2 different ribbons. Whether or not it was because I had more coffee in one lot where I did it, or whether it was because I left it in for longer, I'm not actually entirely sure. But I was quite pleased with the result. Out of all the materials that I kind of showed, the only things that I couldn't use were the plastic flowers, which no matter what I did, I couldn't age those. I tried kind of distress inks, I tried coffee staining them, I tried StazOn inks, tried painting them, I tried kind of all sorts of things, but they just were not, you know, vintaging up. They were staying quite modern looking. So I kind of gave up with those. I don't think there was anything else that I didn't use or couldn't use. Everything else I did use. So I'll tell you as we go through what I did with each thing. So on the first page, I've got vintage looking index card as a pocket, and then another pocket there from some of the decorated paper. And obviously there you've just got a couple of tags. So they just slot in. And then obviously got some of the lace trim to the side, and some other bits of paper kind of thing on there. This was the fabric that I used. I tried to coffee stain that, and weirdly it didn't change at all. So in the end what I did was just kind of scrunched it up and glued it kind of how I wanted it, and then I just distress inked that. So it now looks kind of vintage, but it wasn't with the coffee stain. And then this was that bright pink ribbon. I don't know if you remember that. It had flowers on it. I did coffee stain that, but unfortunately the pink side of it didn't particularly change. So what I've done to use it is actually put it in back to front. So not that you can see it, but the underneath is still that bright pink with flowers. But the back is now kind of this kind of buff colour that matches the lace. So that worked quite well. And this was the upholstery kind of binding, which that did coffee stain quite well. It was quite a bright kind of pink, if you recall, and it's now much duller and looks quite good. I did add a couple of things because actually as I went through, didn't have quite enough kind of, you know, supplies in my stash. So I added a fabric stamp, or 1 or 2 fabric stamps, which I'll point out as we go through. I obviously added that metal charm that was on the cover. I added a couple of bits of additional pattern paper just because I didn't really have quite enough. So this was one of the pieces of additional paper. And then I added the white coffee stained paper, which I don't think I had included, and a couple of buttons here. So I distressed those by sanding them down, which again, weirdly enough, couldn't really get them to distress at all because they were obviously not porous or anything like that. But my son said, "Oh, sand them down, Mum." So I sanded them back a bit, and then they distressed really well. So that's those. Oh, and also some thesaurus pages, you know, from an old thesaurus that I've got, because they look really good. So on this page, a bit of that thesaurus paper that I just talked about. And then we've got this little booklet with a little stamped image of a postage stamp. And then it opens out. It's got 4 little pages. And then it's just tied together with binding like that. So that looks quite nice. And then I didn't make a pocket with that particular page. On the next page, I've got this little page turner here from the ribbon. Got some lace. I've got some of those really brightly coloured flowers, if you remember. Those are coffee stained in a pot, bubbling on the stove, you know, for about half an hour. And actually they went fantastically. I didn't think they would really go. I thought they'd just fall apart. But they looked amazing. So I'm actually going to coffee stain probably the entire tin, because they look really, really nice. In here I've got a couple of pockets. So here I've got a little journaling tag with a little paper doily. Also added the doilies, forgot to say. And then this little fold out booklet. It just slots in there. And then on this page, got a little pull out tag. Some more of the thesaurus page. A little fold out booklet. There, like that. And then this kind of fold out flap. Like that. And then on the next page, got this here as a kind of massive pocket. So it's really nice and spacious. So obviously you could add much more in there, kind of photos and tickets and, you know, memorabilia, an invoice or bill, or I like to keep things like that, you know, or your booking form or anything like that. Also got this little journaling card that just folds out, and it's just tying together with twine there that I've kind of glued on the back, so it actually is attached. And that's got some of the lace. And actually on this page you can see kind of the 2 colours of the lace together, which work really well. You can see obviously the beigey colour and the duck egg, and they look really good together, you know, and you'd never think they were the same, came from the same ribbon. And then on the facing page, got a couple of tags here into the pockets. They just slot in to the pockets like that. Got some of that fabric upholstery binding. And then on the next page we've got another tag. Just goes in there. Got one of my fabric tags there that I sell on my Etsy shop and my eBay shop. If you can see, that's a typewriter. And they're just fabric, just distressed and stitched onto Hessian. And then on this page got another pocket, tuck spot, sorry, and a pocket here. So a couple of tags. Another one of those flowers. And then this tag here that just goes in. And then we've got this fold out little booklet. That looks really good. And then on the next page we've got little pocket there with this postcard. A couple of like sort of journaling type areas on the page, and then a little made envelope that goes in there with the tag, so just slots in like that. And then on the next page, this one I thought, oh, I have a bit of fun here, so I actually folded the page in half and made a pocket from the actual page, so works quite nicely. Quite liked the way this was just kind of left plain really, with the lace trim and just this bit of detail here. So lots of room for journaling there. And then this side got another one of those lovely flowers, and it's a pocket there with a little tag. And then, oops, on the next page we've got some more lace trim, one of the postcards with a little ticket inside or tag inside, and then one of the thesaurus folded pockets, which I got that from watching somebody's videos online. I can't remember who that was. Might have been, I think her name is Crafty Rena. Might have been hers. Anyway, thought that was a lovely idea, so tried that. And then here, I've got a pocket in the edge of the page, so obviously got a tag in there. And these are massive pockets because obviously it was quite a big book. So, you know, they could hold much more in there. Then on this page, we've got two pockets there with pull-out tags. And this was a slightly different flower from the other set that I was using. But again, coffee stained it and it looks lovely because this has actually taken on all different sort of shades. So it's got some kind of purpley on the bottom and the duck egg blue looks gorgeous. And then on the facing page, made a kind of fold out booklet. These were the brads that I think I said in the original video. Wasn't sure what I would be able to do with those because they were metal and how would I ever, you know, vintage them. But I actually used my StazOn in the brown and just rubbed it over them a bit. It actually looks really nice, really kind of old. So that's kind of there. And then opening out, got a little kind of booklet in there. So that's that one. And then that just fastens there. And then that also is a pocket. So we've got a tag, slots in the side. It's more of that lovely fabric. And then on the edge, again, we've got another pocket there. And then on the next page, again, a pocket with a tag. And then on the face, oh, and another one of my fabric embellishments, this time a little clock. Very Cinderella, I think, so quite like that. And then on this page, we've got a corner pocket with a tag there. So that just goes in there. It's more doily and a little frame. More of that upholstery seam binding. And then another pocket down the side of the page, so another tag just slots in like that. And then on this page, another couple of pockets. So we've got a tag here, and then on this one, another little pocket with a fold out kind of tag there. So a fold out envelope, that's that. And then this page, again, I actually used the pages of the book to stick them together, kind of cut the page down halfway and stuck it onto the other page to make a pocket. And then just decorated it obviously with some of the patterned paper and the upholstery trim. Then used one of the flowers, and this was another one of my fabric embellishments, which just bring it there. I think that looks really nice in the centre of that flower. And then again, another kind of postcard tag. And then on the edge of this page, another pocket with another tag. And then on the next page, there's a couple of pockets here. So we've got a tag here and then another tag there. And I mean, as you can see, there's lots of room on the actual pages for journaling as well, or adding your own stamp by painting or whatever, because actually there's lots of kind of space on the pages. So although they're quite busy, there's also quite a bit of room too. So on this page, another one of those gorgeous flowers, which just really love how they come out. And then we've got a fold out envelope with a little kind of flappy stamped image on there. And that folds out like a book, it looks like an envelope. And that's acting as a pocket there. And it's acting as a pocket for this little envelope, which when I open it, and that's that. And again, that's another couple of those brads, which did the same thing again, just with the StazOn ink, and you know, they just dressed up really nicely. So that just slots in there. And then on the edge of that page again, another pocket with another tag. And then on this page, we've got a massive corner pocket now with another tag in there. Really liked how this tag turned out. It was just the coffee stained paper, cardstock really. And then I just kind of edged the edge in the Distress inks, you know, the kind of watery ones, the droplet ones, and watered it down quite a bit and mixed it in with another one. And it looks really, really effective. And then I just did some stamped off some music notes on there. And then it's got another fabric item, this time of the Eiffel Tower. As you all probably know by now, love images of the Eiffel Tower. So that's on there. And then on this page, we've got A couple of little pockets there, so we've got a couple of fold out tags. This one's more like a little booklet, so that one goes in there, that one goes in here, and then this one, this lovely image of the globe, and then that folds down like that. And then on the corner of that page we've also got one of those lovely paper clips decorated with some paper and some lace. And then again, you've got a pocket at the edge of the page with another tag. So that's in there. And then on this page, we've just got a kind of tuck spot there with the postcard and another tag. And then this page here, we've got another kind of fold out flap there and another pocket with another tag on there. And then on this page, I didn't do a pocket on the edge of this one. We've just got, again, another pocket here, just a teeny weeny tag that just sits in there. Another one of the flowers, more ribbon, little kind of journaling spot there, another one here, more of the lace. And then here on the back page, we've got a couple of pockets. So we've got this one here with this tag that just slots neatly in there, and then this tag here goes into that one, and a bit of lace down the side, and that's that really. So I mean, as you can see, the album's turned out massive in depth. I don't know whether I've got my tape measure handy. Let me just have a look and see if it's on the table here. I don't think it is, which is a bit of a shame, but it looks really quite large, so I think it's probably a good 5 inches at least kind of in depth here. Obviously it could be squashed in slightly, but yeah, kind of pretty huge. And the actual album itself is 8 by 8 inches. So hope you liked it. I think it turned out looking pretty vintage from what it started and began in the world. Hope you like it. And it's obviously for sale in my Etsy store. Please check out my other kind of videos. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching.